Joan Quinn Profiles. As an editor for Andy Warhol's Interview, the Los Angeles Herald-Examiner, LA Style, and Detour magazines, Joan covered the social set, the Hollywood hotshots, the international art scene, the mysteries of food, the excitement of travel, and the fabulous world of fashion. Joan continues to find creative people on the cutting edge who make things happen. Here's Joan Agajanian Quinn.
Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome to the Joan Quinn Profiles. Waiting to be profiled are artist Bob Burdiss and singer, actor Dean Regan. Artist Bob Burdiss was born and raised in Boston. He went to the Art Institute School in Boston. He painted 30 years in LA, and then he moved to Santa Fe, where he is now working in metal sculpting. Bob, why did you move from Boston to Los Angeles?
Good question. At the time, I had friends who were all traipsing off to New York.
Oh, to New York, yeah, right? That was close.
So it was very close, and so I went down to New York, and I saw this great show, and it was Kenny Price and Billy Al Bankston.
Really?
And, you know. So I kept seeing these little tags, Venice, California, and I thought, interesting, you know.
Wow.
Yeah, so...
that was at Martha Jackson.
Yeah.
They were at Martha Jackson at that time. Wow.
Yeah, so I thought, well, you know, it was just in the back of my mind. And an opportunity came up to go out to LA, and so I went out there, and this was, I think, around 1969, you know. First time I came out to LA, so I you know, established some contacts, and then one winter back in Boston, I ran out of heating oil, and it was freezing, and I said, you know,
And these guys were surfing.
that's right. So when I came out to Venice, it was you know, a ghetto on the beach that was perfect. I had some little kids, and
Oh, you did?
Yeah, so I just sort of let them go on the beach, and you know, it was perfect.
Were you painting in Boston? Had you started working there?
Yeah, I had you know, various jobs, but you know, struggling as a young artist and just, you know, trying to find my way.
Were you working during the day and painting at night?
Exactly. You know,
the usual?
The usual, you know. Just,
And then when you came out, who did you know anybody in the art scene? Did you
know
know Billy or
just,
Kenny?
No, I just kind of ran into some people. The next thing you know, I was hanging out with Bill Wegman. He was down there on 2nd Street.
Right.
And then Alan McCullum and Pat Hogan. And so it was, you know, an open situation. And I went out to Pasadena, and I met Scott Greiger and Peter Lodato.
Oh,
and
it was
so
from different sections of the city, right?
It was just, you know, all around, you know. Dagny Jans was very open. She had a great little gallery going, and Babs Altoon, and so...
Oh. And so, John was still here?
Well, he had passed.
Had he just passed?
Yeah, so... and
so
I
that
was
was 69,
69. So that was the early, and then getting into the early 70s.
Right,
you know.
right.
So
were you painting? You were painting on canvas? What were you doing?
Well, actually, I was painting, and at the time, everybody was trying to kill painting. It was over, it was over, it was over. It was minimal art, you know. But when I came out, you know, I mean, people like Alan McCullum and Pat, they were still working on canvases, on stuff on the wall, and I started mimicking that, you know, just kind of feeling my way with that situation.
But then Laddie and Chuck were using sticks and
that's right. Yeah, they were moving into more collage-like materials.
Yeah. And George Herms, right?
I guess you could say that a lot of the work that I did early on was collage stuff. I was working with sawdust and, you know, Rollex.
See, but that's what what was happening, wasn't it?
Yeah. And you know, showing in odd venues. You know, these two guys were developing real estate in Venice at the time, Tom Sewell and Roger Webster, and so they built this beautiful building, or refurbished the beautiful building, the St. Charles Hotel on the beach, you know, and they had all these great guests coming out, the Kipper Kids, and
they were great, Webster and Sewell. I thought they were so terrific. They were really a part, when you talk about alternative They
Right.
were like the beginning
They
of
were
that,
the
weren't
beginning of it, you know, in the Mystic Nights of the Oingo Boingo.
Yes, exactly.
Rene Ricard was out there, and
So you were all a part of that
Yeah.
art scene.
yeah, exactly.
And you came out and just kind of integrated into it.
You know, integrated into it. You know, and then,
Did you ever teach?
Later on, I taught.
Did you?
know.
Where'd you
Well, I
teach?
was teaching in high schools, private schools, out here in North Hollywood, in fact, and you know, various, you know, venues.
You were showing in these alternative spaces. Did you have a gallery then that repped you at one time?
Never really got it together to get a gallery. I had this tribe of kids, and you know.
How many kids did you have? This tribe of kids, because there's all grandchildren here now.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I had 3 boys, one after the other.
Oh, they were tough boys.
Irish twins, and so it was perfect for them. The beach, and they really got a big kick out of it.
So that was great, but you still had this involvement in
That's
your
right.
family life, where these other guys didn't have so much of that yet.
No. So you know, I was kind of locked down, and you know,
Yeah, so that makes a difference.
Yeah.
Why did you leave here then, after 30 years, and go to Santa Fe?
My wife and I, she taught a number of years over at UCLA, and at one point we just sort of got to this point where we thought, let's try something else. And so I bought a building on Abbot Kinney Boulevard, and we decided to take a year off and live in Indonesia. So we moved to Bali.
Oh, that was cool.
Yeah.
Did you paint there? And
I painted there, and it gave us more freedom. We had, you know, help, you know.
Did
people
you
that
do
could
the
come in.
fabric? Did you do fabric work?
At
work
that
on
time, I
fabric?
was working with casein and raw pigments, and just on canvas, and you know, incorporating themes of Balinese art, you know, with my own concepts. I just love the way they use very abstract, symbolic stuff.
Yes, but their fabrics are also used as
That's
canvases, right?
That's right.
And they're
yeah,
great
yeah.
fabrics.
So the checkerboard stuff,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Kotek, you know, I was very impressed by
Exactly.
that.
So you worked there for a year?
Worked there for a year. We came back to Venice, and then we were sort of struggling and trying to figure out what to do next. And so we started importing some Indonesian furniture and realized that we weren't retail people and just really couldn't do it.
That's
You
not
know?
tough business.
It's a tough business, and
Art is easier.
you know. So I just happened to mention to her, you know, honey, the building is worth a lot of money, you know. And she said, well, let's sell it. And I said, well, where do you want to go? And so, you know, I had a friend out in Santa Fe, Linda.
Oh,
And,
Linda Banglas was in
yeah.
Santa Fe.
That's
I
right.
forgot that.
Yeah.
Oh.
So we just went out and visited, and I thought, you know, this is pretty interesting.
So there's that
you know?
that caliber of artists
Yeah.
to be with.
Oh,
because you know,
absolutely,
you always
yeah.
think of Santa Fe as being like mall art and
Right.
I don't know.
Right. Indian,
which
cowboy.
is yeah,
Right,
different
yeah.
from what you were doing here.
That's right. Yeah.
in,
It's not.
Venice.
It's not the vibrant community.
But you had you have a part of the vibrant community, your own.
That's right. Yeah.
That's
So,
interesting. I
yeah.
didn't realize that.
So you know.
So you have a lot of good thinkers. Thinkers, you guys think together,
That's right.
talk together.
That's right. Yeah. So.
But you started sculpting there.
Well, when I got there, I had a small studio, lots of land, and I thought, you know, this is an opportunity to take advantage of the land. And, you know, sculpture is a difficult thing to do here in LA in tight spaces. And so I started getting into metal. It was like a suggestion of a friend, and then one thing led to another. And so now I'm working with hot metal, forging, manipulating.
I was going to
it.
ask you, forging, hammer, is that
Hammering.
forging?
Yes, yeah,
and
that's the-
hammering, and
yeah,
then
yeah.
what else? Welding.
Welding. Yeah.
Tell us this tall, skinny
Yeah.
piece that you did.
Well, that's like an early struggle of manipulating metal and finding out, you know, how I can personally deal with it on my scale, you know. And so this very organic piece comes up off of, you know, a very rigid
Platform.
frame, you know, and I referred to it as the finger of God.
Oh,
you
I
know,
see.
but, you
Yeah, it
know.
is kind of like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And then the other thing that you showed me is this picture of the sail. It's
That's
like
right.
it's-
Another incorporating, you know, hammered metal with wood. You know, and the wood's found wood. So You know, the earlier pieces that I was getting into is more collage coming off the wall and working with the wood, and then I started working with the metal, and so that's an incorporation of the two.
The
you know,
sail piece.
Right.
How has your approach to art changed when you work with metal from when you were painting?
It's a so completely different animal.
That's what I would think.
I thought, you know, that might be an interesting transition, but again, working in collage, working with objects coming more away from the wall, there was a sort of a progression, you know, it's cascading into its own form, you know, but again, you know, the two-dimensional surface is quite different.
You're talking about that, and then one of the pieces that's forged are these like circles.
Right.
Why
it's
is it?
you know, again, it's a very organic form. It's almost like rib-like, you know, skeletal.
So how do you? What's forged? Heating and turning, or?
That's right. You heat these large bars of mild steel, and you just put them into the forge. You heat them up to 2,500 degrees, and then you can start manipulating it. It takes, you know, a hammer, anvil.
You do all of that.
Yeah, yeah.
And had you worked with that before?
No, so
That's what's so great.
Yeah.
One of the really beautiful pieces is tree stump with metal coming out.
So
of
the
it.
metal are I started forging these little cup-like shapes.
Yeah, they're
and
beautiful.
They became. I started attaching them to the stump. It was a found stump. I manipulated the stump, and then I noticed that the little cup-like shapes have a sound just like a bicycle bell.
Oh, they do.
So I started adding more, and then there's a couple of little sticks that you can actually come up and meditate and have this bicycle bell kind of variations on the sound.
It's very interactive.
Yeah, it is.
Did you intend it to be, or did it just happen?
No, it just sort of happened naturally. So I got a kick out of it. You know, I'm always looking to, you know, ways of going off in a different direction. You know, sort of surprising
and
yourself.
going off into different directions. When I was talking about your group of artists and thinking and all that, you do need feedback, don't you? And I think you need
So
it from...
I work out of the community college. There's a couple of fellows. One chap in particular, he went to Cal Arts out here. He was part of my wife's class, you know. And
is he working there?
He's out. Yeah, he's out at the community college, and he's one of the instructors. So I go up there and I kind of use the facilities. I enroll in classes to get access to the facilities, and so it's nice to have that feedback. And then, you know, I have other friends, peripheral friends who...
And they come, do they come and go? People
Sure.
come and visit you all the time?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, you get a lot of isolation, too. So
Yeah, but is that good or bad?
it's good. I think it's really good. It allows the creative juices to really flow and fewer distractions.
I wanted to catch you while you were in LA because
Well,
I know
thank
you
you
have
so
a
much.
brood of grandchildren that you
That's
come
right.
and visit.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
thank you for coming to the studio.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
And don't go away. We'll be right back with singer, actor Dean Regan. Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome back to the Joan Quinn Profiles. I'm here with actor-singer Dean Regan, who was born and raised in Chicago. He has a degree in theater arts from UCLA. He's an award winner for his work in the LA production of Company and the production of Cabaret. He's been on and off Broadway, had recurring roles on TV, founded the Hollywood Repertory Company, and served as the managing partner of the West Ford Ensemble. You've seen his work in Broadway musicals and show all over the place. I can't go on and on. Your CD does talk about your Broadway musicals. It's called
Give My Regards to Broadway.
I know. Did you perform in all of those?
No, some of them I performed in, some of them I dream of performing someday.
How did you pick those things?
All of the songs that I picked had a place in my heart or a place in my history.
A Place in My Heart sounds like another CD.
That's the next CD.
That's the next one.
One of the songs, I Am the Very Model of a Modern Major General.
Yes.
I did because I did the Pirates of Penzance on Broadway.
Oh, of
and I
course.
remember watching George Rose, who was an amazing character actor, night after night, do this incredible verbal gymnastic Gilbert and Sullivan piece. And
When was that? In the late
That was-
70s, early 80s?
that was in the 80s, yes.
I saw it. So I must have seen you.
I
Who
hope
else
so.
was in that?
When I did it, Jim Belushi
Oh, right.
and Peter Noon.
Oh.
And then when I did the Broadway company, Maureen McGovern was in it.
You had the best people with you, didn't you?
Yes.
One of the things that happened was you lived in New York for a long time, and that's when you had your chance to be on and off Broadway.
Yeah.
But why did you come to LA?
I originally came out to LA because I wanted to do pilot season. At that time, there was a distinct pilot season.
Yes, there was.
So I left New York and came out to LA for pilot season. I'd been out to LA before I graduated from UCLA, as
Right.
you mentioned.
Were you living
and
here, or did you just come out to go to school?
I came out to go to school.
I see.
And then I got the national tour and ended up in Broadway and New York.
Oh, that's
And then
what
I came
happened.
back.
I see, I see, I
Yeah.
see. Well, was it better for you there, do you think, getting work, or better here?
Wherever I am, I get the work that I can get. I really don't compare, and I have to say that honestly. It's whenever I'm living my life, that's where I want to be. And when I decided I wanted to come back to LA, I've never regretted it.
I'm glad you're here. But you still go on the road all the time,
I
right?
do, with my show.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit, your show. You
Yes.
mean with the show that you're in at the time? You don't have a one-man show, do you?
I actually have 4.
You do?
Yes, I have 4 one-man concerts.
Oh, tell us about that.
Well, I have a concert called Give My Regards to Broadway.
Good.
Which is good because I have a CD called the same thing.
Right.
It's all Broadway
Right.
show tunes.
Oh,
And,
so that's what you do on stage?
yeah, I bring that across the country to performing arts centers all over the country.
That's great.
And then I have 3 other shows. One is called The Best of Times, which is all standards and some Broadway characters. And then a show called Mr. Sinatra.
Oh, right.
No impressions, just Sinatra.
Your Sinatra songs, right?
I love Sinatra.
Right.
And then another one called A Broadway Christmas, which is all of the songs that I love from Broadway and from Christmas time, just put into a wonderful evening.
And during that, is it obviously in December, do you go all over the country, or do you just stay in a couple of cities?
We always try to route close
Do
to
you?
close to the city, one city, and then get a routing of others.
Well, rooting, D.C., you were at the White House.
I was.
I don't want to not mention that. Let's talk about it. It was Ronald Reagan's White House.
Yes, it was in the Reagan years, and the company of the Pirates of Penzance was asked to come over to the White House to do a performance for the Easter egg roll.
You're kidding?
It-
How great.
It was so much fun. So what was particularly interesting, even at the time, was all the security we needed to go to.
Oh,
There's a lot of security, but being able to it was surreal because we were in costume in the Rose Garden and in the White House and just kind of wandering around where we were giving accents and then performing.
did you have a stage?
Yeah, they
had a
created the
and
stage
then,
for us.
And then all the kids were around,
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah.
Oh, that was fabulous. That's great. And the other thing that I know you did, which was fantastic, was the Crystal Cruise.
Yeah.
How did you get that gig? I love that.
A dear friend of mine was in town doing Beauty and the Beast. She was performing as Mrs. Potts. As a matter of
Oh,
fact,
Mrs. Potts.
Mrs. Potts,
Right.
the Angela Lansbury
Right.
role in the film,
Right.
and Jeannie had did it in Los Angeles, so I came out to see her, or I came over to see her, and I happened to be sitting next to a mutual friend, and he was looking for some performers for the Crystal
You're
Cruise.
kidding.
So I produced a series of concerts, promoted it to them, and did 96 days of the World Cruise.
And you went from place to place all
Yeah,
around.
Los Angeles to London and at least 32 ports in between.
Isn't that great?
It was the trip
and
of a
you,
lifetime.
you're not performing every single day, or are you?
As a matter of fact, we performed very little.
Because-
we were there as continuity to, there were world cruisers who were on the whole cruise, and we were
Right.
entertainers. We had full guest passenger and crew status, so we could go anywhere on
So
the
they
ship.
came on and off.
The
People,
passengers
yeah.
came on and off. The world cruisers stayed for the whole time.
I see.
And we performed we did 9 performances over 96 days.
Oh, that's-
The rest of the time we were
You were
rehearsing.
enjoying yourself? You were rehearsing. Oh, sure you were.
We were
you-
actually.
Were you?
Except when we were in port.
But do they bring you out and they want you to meet the guests, and so you're
Oh, yeah.
part of the cocktail parties,
Oh,
and you're the
sure.
celebrities, and
Yes.
did you put it together through your production company? Or through the repertory company?
I put it together just myself. I put a book together and presented it to them, and they said, "This is what we're looking for."
Oh, you didn't use it. What does your production company do?
Well, the Weatherford Group,
Yes.
actually, which was the production company I had here with my senior partner, Russ Weatherford, many years ago.
Oh, Weatherford.
I was the managing partner, and we also created Hollywood Repertory Company. It was really a 7 days a week, 24-hour-a-day job.
And the repertory company was actors.
Yes,
And,
all live
and how
theater.
did you get the actors?
We auditioned them like anybody else. We had created a company, and we had this television studio where we were taping a soap opera, and on the weekends, on Sunday, it was all live theater.
Oh.
So when we could also not be taping the soap opera, we would then do live performances and create the live theater in a black box, which it was astounding. It was
Well,
great.
you do all of these things, and you even have a day job. I mean, how does somebody do that?
That's an excellent question.
Because you do it.
I do. I have a day job. I'm actually the manager of the legal department at a Fortune 500 company here in Los Angeles.
I know, that's so great.
It's an amazing life. I have
But
to
you're
admit.
organized.
Very.
So that's probably why you're so good. Do you sing at the law firm?
I don't, but they all know what I do. As a matter of fact, when I was coming here, I said, I'm going to go have an interview with Joan Quinn, and we're going to be on TV. So they were all excited about it.
That was great, because my husband is in a law firm too, Arnold and Porter, so they probably,
really?
maybe they know Jack Quinn.
Okay.
We talked about your CD. Now I want to go back, and let's talk about some of the songs, and one is Luck Be a Lady Tonight.
Guys and Dolls, the
Okay.
quintessential New York song. It's the one song that when I'm doing the show, I really get to connect with the audience. Because whenever you're performing, there's always a sense of wonderment and how's this performance going to be? Because live performance is always different. The audience communicates, the artists communicate, and with Luck Be a Lady, there's always that sense of what's going to happen tonight.
Yeah, but when you're singing in the studio, what happens?
You bring that sense of
Do
spontaneity
you?
into
Do
the
you?
studio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And had you performed that on stage?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you had. So you
Oh, yeah.
already knew that.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
How about Once in Love with Amy?
Once in Love with Amy. That's a Ray Bolger signature
I remember,
song.
and you know, Ray Bolger used to go to Good Shepherd, so he
Oh,
used to
did
go
he
to our
really?
church, and I used to see him. Boop, boop, boop,
Ah,
boop.
he's one of my idols. And I put that into the show because it's such a personality number, and I get to dance. And
Oh, that's why, of course.
yeah.
Do you still take dancing lessons and singing lessons?
I always have kept up with my singing. I don't take dancing lessons. I've been focused mainly as a performing artist is singing and acting.
And when you go to take singing lessons, what do they teach you that you don't already know?
It's, you know, as live entertainers, we're always keeping our instrument. This is our instrument.
Right,
You know, whether
right.
you're actor, singer, dancer, this is your instrument. And you go to somebody to help you keep it in the best shape that you possibly can. Because over the years, your instrument changes. It's like, okay, how am I going to use my instrument now?
That's true.
It's a
As
great
we
way
get
of keeping
older,
yourself honest.
your voice
Yeah.
changes a little bit,
Sure.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
I never thought about it in that respect. Now, one other thing, Music of the Night. Did you ever do that on stage?
I haven't done Phantom of the Opera.
My favorite.
Oh,
And that song is so great. Is it hard to sing?
it's very easy to sing for me because I love it. The thing
I love it,
The
too.
thing about when we do it on the album or we do it in the shows, I take it out of context from Phantom of the Opera because the song to me is all about my love affair with New York City and Manhattan.
So you sing to New York.
Yeah, it's really about that effect that New York had on me that no other city has had, and it really enchanted me.
One of the people you worked with, who's one of my favorite directors, Michael Arabian, and you worked at the Insight project that
Yes.
he was doing.
Theater Insight.
Tell us about that, because that was fantastic.
Michael and I became familiar with one another when I was looking to move out of Hollywood Repertory Company as an artistic director. And I was a chairman of the board at the time, and I saw Michael's work, and his work is just marvelous.
He's
And
really good, isn't he?
I saw his Romeo and Juliet, and then his Trojan Women was part of what we ended up doing together.
Talk about that, what the Insight stuff was.
Theater Insight was all about doing live theater and being site specific.
In different venues, right?
Yes.
He was in the studio at
Yes.
one time.
He was at, when we were working together, he did all his shows at the CBS Radford, MTM at the time.
And what did they do? They went through the between the buildings, right?
Yes, during Romeo and Juliet they did that, but during Trojan Women, there used to be a lagoon, which is unfortunately now a parking lot, that was the Gilligan's Island Lagoon. And it had some sand around it, and it had a water feature, like a water mill. And we had the audience at the edge of the water, and Mariette Hartley.
Oh, she's
was
great.
the
She's
lead.
been on the show.
Just a dear woman. So we had it all site specific, and there you are on the production studio lot as
Right.
a Humvee comes in, and the artists, the soldiers are going through the water as if it was modern day. It was beautiful.
I know,
It
and
was
that's
beautiful.
all his ideas,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah. Well, I want to say thank you to you today,
thank
and
you.
I loved. I listened to the music,
Oh,
and
good.
it's great because Broadway musicals can't be beat, and I'm glad you're keeping them alive.
Thank you.
So, Dean Regan, thank you very much for being with us.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks.
And keep writing JAQUINN1 at AOL.com, and we'll see you next time.